It's time for our final series of the night. Welcome, everybody. Hope you've enjoyed the entertainment so far. This is, of course, week number 5 of stage 3 of the Quake Pro League. My name's Ketchup, joined by Lethal on the online broadcast today. Almost said desk again, but I didn't. I called it right before it happened. So our final matchup is going to be DaHanG versus nosfa. We will keep this one brief. Interviews done. Both of the players are ready to go. Fundamentally, DaHanG has been looking a little bit more vulnerable result-wise than I think we're growing to expect. nosfa is always looking to get that next good result for himself. So I think this can grow to be maybe unpredictable, maybe more unpredictable than we would expect.
I think vulnerable is the right word. I was trying to feel what word I could use for him. Maybe weaker, maybe slowly, not getting as well as he should have been. But yeah, you are right though. Like vulnerable is definitely the correct word. I'm not too sure what's been going on with his play style and how he's actually been approaching a lot of his matchups. But this matchup is not the time to show any weaknesses whatsoever. nosfa has been on an absolute tear. He's been doing so well recently, especially after last week's results. And now considering what's happened, nosfa, we know what he's like. It's that Brazilian style of the aggression and just running around like an aim star and the high-paced games he creates for himself. And this huge amount of opportunities which are in place for him because of how well fought some of these placements are. So DaHanG needs to really be careful, I'd say. nosfa is becoming more and more dangerous as the weeks have gone by throughout stage 3.
Now we have to pick some bands: Blood Covenant, Vale of Pnath, and then Awoken. They're going to be the picks of the day. Excited for the first map because, I'm always hyped to see some Athena. This one's going to be coming out from nosfa. Slash was removed, and Nyx is going to get picked for DaHanG. Vale of Pnath has Ison versus Ranger, and then Awoken is the Doomslayer up against Galena. So everything is kind of standard. Even as Athena, she's spent a long time being considered kind of a wild card pick, except for Blood Covenant, where she's very popular and she's historically been quite successful on this map. There is just this element of movement that, when mastered, no one in the game really, champion-wise, can match how far and how fast Athena can navigate that map. And Nyx, a lot more traditional, a lot more kind of old school style for Quake champions, where double jump works because of the walls and the ghost walk. It's just excellent for keeping her alive. But at the same time, nosfa, he's really kind of like, he expresses a lot of flair when he plays the game. He is not afraid to be aggressive, and fundamentally, just those high execution champions that can make those really crazy plays happen, it's not really that stranger to him. So I am excited to see this. If you were to give me a prediction on any normal day of the week, I'd say that I think DaHanG is a pretty safe bet to take this comfortably. It's just recently he's not looked as top-notch as we are used to, and by that reason alone, this could be the one time nosfa just edges it out.
Do you know what? I'm going to call an upset. I think the maps with nosfa, he's very good at any map with a small amount of geometry. Vale and Awoken are there. I've seen nosfa play Awoken a few times. He's just ridiculous. He's just an absolutely dangerous man to actually play against him on. But even then, Blood Covenant, it depends on the situation, because nosfa has actually decided to go for Blood Covenant himself. And even with that Athena pick, yeah, Athena's chosen on Blood Covenant almost every time, or most of the time anyway. It's just too strong of a champion. The ability and the moves and actually get done, it's very easy, and it seems to be a lot more secure on that map. But even then, Vale can go either way. But then again, DaHanG has going for the Ison, for the turret placements to see what he can do. But then again as well, nosfa does have the range if he wants to get himself out of some heavy situations. But I think it will end up going to the point where it will end up on Awoken. It will be the final map. I reckon it will be tied things maybe during that kind of scenario. But quite basic champions. I think with Awoken, there's still a bit more needs to be explored, but we still see the same Doom, Galena, those kind of picks. It's nothing really too different compared to the Slash we saw earlier, but let's be honest, that didn't really go too well.
Well, there's always a chance for a new day, a new set of maps. If one champion doesn't work out for one person, that doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to be the same for everyone else. So DaHanG, very methodical. This is going to be a battle of, I think, methodical versus playing by the heart, which is what nosfa's a bit more likely to do. And we're loading into map number 1. It's going to be Blood Covenant, Athena versus Nyx. DaHanG, dangerously efficient Nyx. We've seen that time and time again. I think actually this is quite a good entryway. And let's go. Map number 1, DaHanG versus nosfa, final series of the day. Who's going to take this first one here?
Any other day of the week, normally would say DaHanG, but nosfa has been looking very good over the last couple of weeks. It shows huge improvement and progression going forward. So I have to see what nosfa can do, and if DaHanG can keep him at bay, we'll have to see what happens. But so far so good. nosfa at a very good stack, including the mega too. So far it's going to be quite slow here, I think, Ryan.
It will naturally at the very beginning. These are two champions that are quite tender. They don't have a lot of stack to work with compared to some of the competition. However, the trap's going to get sprung by DaHanG, who gets some wonderful entry damage and the tri-bolt. However, he is taking a little bit of rail damage at the same time. nosfa's weak, going down towards the light. And I think that was more of a confident play. I don't think that was arrogant. I don't think he wasn't expecting DaHanG to be there. I'm just pretty sure nosfa was expecting to snap in, get the light, and then win the fight. It just didn't quite work out.
Sadly, it didn't go in his favour. It's just the aggression trying to call him off. But nosfa, this could be his chance. He needs to try and hit this rail to at least finish him off. But it's a little too late here. In his favour, but decided to drop down and try and catch him off guard. I think the only reason why nosfa did that was the fact that he's probably thinking, surely he won't expect it a second time. DaHanG, of course he did.
And it looks like there's a whole bunch of damage getting peppered out first. DaHanG trying to keep himself alive, but this should be an easy pickup for nosfa. The problem is, he took a lot of damage during that exchange. Enough that he's now going to be a little bit nervous. There's that initial damage coming through for DaHanG. Does get hit by a rail. nosfa looking to try and finish the job, but heavy being taken. The comfort zone does mean that DaHanG, he'd be a bit of a madman to stick around and try and take that frag. He was just way too weak, but what?
Stop
Around the corner, out of nowhere.
8 HP, you hate to see it, but nosfa's been very aggressive, but he's been too aggressive. Now he needs to try and get out of that situation. Luckily, he does from the skin of his teeth, and even then, DaHanG is accidentally all over him, I'd like to say. Like, you know, didn't have the weapon at the time, but he does now. But nosfa, he so desperately wants to try and get that rail off, but he has to be careful with what he can do here. Decides to back off for the time being, which is completely understandable, but even at this point, DaHanG is just still keeping tabs on the man to find out what he's up to as nosfa picks up the mega and was going to try and back off, but goes for the light. Wow. It doesn't, sadly, and DaHanG with a very nice rocket there.
That's the kind of rocket that screams, I'm experienced with Athena, and I know when to shoot the rocket. From like any other champion, that rocket would have been shot far too early. It's just the more players really get that experience versus a champion that just demands a different approach. You're ready. And DaHanG is the kind of player that will study it, I suppose. And now nosfa, yeah, it's got a pretty okay stack to work with. A little bit of an awkward exchange here. The double jump being, or the wall jump, I think it's a more accurate term, being used to try and avoid that fight a little bit, but it's not really enough to stop the 3-3. nosfa's dragging his way back into this fight here. And it is this constant aggression. You know, how does DaHanG successfully disengage in these situations? He's going to get a little bit of stack. He's really short on weapons. You know, this nail gun really is all he's got access to. And now he's getting peppered down by rails. This is a very scary scenario. nosfa doesn't want to overly stick around. He knows that he himself is very weak, but yeah, this is not an amazing situation for DaHanG. He needs to try and be silent. Thankfully, he's been able to dodge. And, ooh, he's out enough just to get some. But wait, he fights back. Somewhat taking nosfa by a little bit of surprise, but he had the stack to survive the shot all the same.
Yeah, expected him to come a little bit quicker and get more of a close-range shot, but it isn't to be. nosfa's starting to become on a tear, having a 2-frag lead. And nosfa now, I mentioned earlier, he is one of the AIM stars in the Americas region to really do some damage against some of these top players, and he has been. He has been on an absolute rampage, but here let's see with the heavy machine gun, DaHanG trying to do a little bit of damage, but it's still all over him. He's going to at least contest him for that heavy, but he's trying to get away. It's not going to happen as nosfa did his best to get away. And you can see it's found it a little bit funny, and yeah, I don't think he'll be laughing if he loses this match. But it's just one of those things. It happened with Athena.
That is the kind of LOL where nosfa most certainly did not laugh out loud.
No.
Ooh, those rails. nosfa overstaying his welcome a little bit, I fear. Especially with the health that's nearby. Is he going to look for a shot? Oh, just shy of an angle. In fact, DaHanG, the man of patience, could technically try and take that rail, but he would have given his position away. Better to allow nosfa to run past, unlikely to look in his direction, and then get the finishing touches, which he was able to get quite comfortably. Both players weak indeed. 5-5. Potentially one rail. Going to seal the deal here. Looks like nosfa's opting to go for the machine gun instead. He does actually have a rail. He just didn't go with it, but no, the surprise! The trap! Oh my, there he is.
twice in a row now. The hook hasn't really done him much justice here. Now needs to be on guard. It's only one frag between the two. DaHanG has made the 3 frag come out to finally take the lead once more. He's just trying to circle around him, see what info we can get. Maybe try and which he has done in those. Starting to adapt to nosfa in many ways, and he knows exactly what he's like. nosfa can be quite predictable, but at the same time, there's some elements to him where his speed and pace of the game. You expect something, but it's a little bit too late as he does get into certain areas of the map much sooner than anticipated. But look at DaHanG is just going to take a breather for the time being and try and scope out where nosfa could be.
There's the immediate chance for a rail. Both players not really able to return it, though. Always a high-risk fight being played here. Patience from DaHanG. A little bit too much of a far left flick. It's the door frame instead of nosfa, but keeping the lead, and that's really what matters in this kind of situation. DaHanG hasn't really had much trouble hitting those rails, especially ones that matter, and he's going for another one. Good rail. nosfa almost down. This is a very scary position. And there's that SSG just finished the deal. Can he get the spawn trap? Is he going to delay? Nah, he's just not going to spawn there. Some players will try and maybe manually delay their spawn just to offset a player a little bit. But now, 2 frags in the lead. That's more than enough for DaHanG to work with. And nosfa forced to retreat. Goes to walk just to try extra safe. Try to stay extra safe. I don't know how that sentence was so tricky to get out, but the important thing is that he's keeping a lead. DaHanG, it's very patient play, and he is a player that like lives for the items. He lives for that control. A fight, he'll take it if he can, but it's very rarely what DaHanG. That's like really his main objective. And now, you'll notice he's just running the circuit all the way around. Heavy, mega, heavy, mega. And now here's the heavy. He's going to go to it. Shut down when he can, but fundamentally, this is his main objective. Keep the control.
Absolutely right. Yeah, he's doing everything he can. He's definitely go for the items at a certain degree, making the same paths and routes. But nosfa will figure it out at some stage and try and close him off when he gets DaHanG weak. But he hasn't really found much opportunity. But finally gets the first mega in a while. And he's trying to see where else he could be. He doesn't know he's actually directly behind him, which is quite a rare occurrence. nosfa's normally very aware, but retaliation rail, my goodness, he came straight back and went, no, absolutely not. But another great rail again with DaHanG. He's only on 20 HP. You have to stack up a little bit more because nosfa, he's just picked up that heavy and just managed to keep it at bay. But nosfa's still just pushing straight in. Absolutely no fear in this man. And DaHanG is just trying to keep away from him. He realizes that he could still be up there. Surely he's going to try and pull back.
DaHanG has had this uncanny ability every single time nosfa hits him with a rail to always return fire. And it has been quite a sort of thorn in nosfa's side, I suppose, that you mount anything that looks like you can start a comeback or at least get a frag to turn the tables. And then DaHanG kind of shuts it down as soon as it happens. I can imagine it's being quite frustrating here for nosfa. He has to stick around now and try and make something happen. A good amount of damage to begin with, and even more so. Ghost Walk's going to get popped, but can he get to the mega? Oh, nosfa somewhat had an angle on him, but not enough. Oh, the pillars blocking off the rail shot. There is still a chance for a comeback. There's only 3 frags. If he gets to hang right now, and he gets some good frags afterwards, quick ones, there's a potential. The danger is, right as the 1-minute warning has happened, nosfa is weak. He's too weak to fight. He's going to have to spend time to get his stack back up, disengage, and it's time he doesn't have. All while DaHanG is getting his stack really healthy.
If the spawn locations were the same as before the patch, I would have completely agreed, but now it's a little bit more different. It's a little bit more difficult. But you're right, though. nosfa definitely can with the aggression he's shown, but DaHanG's stack is way too large, and nosfa will need a miracle to not get something going. DaHanG will have to seriously make a mess of things if he wants to lose this lead. But nosfa is trying to get something going a little bit. He's trying to get some rails off, but I don't think it's going to be the case. If it's going to be one more frag for DaHanG to try and close this out, but nosfa is not going to give it to him. So it looks like DaHanG will be taking the first map, but needs to be careful for these next 2 because it's quite surprising how well and how aggressive nosfa was against DaHanG and really showed what he was made of.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a good start too. They were very back and forth at the beginning. And nosfa, not shy of a massive amount of damage either. It was just, I think, DaHanG's level of dominance and control. And that's very characteristic of DaHanG, right? That's the kind of DaHanG map that we're extremely used to seeing. Like he has I've always kind of considered that DaHanG has a underrated degree of combat ability that is very impressive. We always talk about the days of when 2v2 was kind of like the prime game mode. A couple of years back, where DaHanG and Rafa, when they played together, he was like the real kind of resident damage dealer, and he would be the one hitting 30 bombs all over the place. Like, if you need a DaHanG to get frags, he'll just take care of business. That does translate to duel. The second you're in a position where, look, a fight's breaking out, you got to take the fight. DaHanG is all right. What kind of rail do I need to hit? What kind of rocket do I need to hit? And he'll just do it. But that's not really kind of like the main purpose of DaHanG's game plan. It's super methodical, and it's about the items, and that's like the main objective for him. But that is going to be a convincing and comfortable map number 1. It was close to begin with, but it very quickly became not so much. Going to check over we're loading into our next map already. Vale of Pnath, like we're just about to start again.
They're not mucking around, are they? They just want to get straight to it, which is understandable. Sometimes they need a little bit of a breather. Try and work out exactly what went wrong, not just in terms of the map choice, but just the fundamentals of what he could have done better. But DaHanG, he looked very good. Like, I'm not going to lie, in previous weeks, I was like, seems all right, but, it could be better. But DaHanG looks a lot stronger than usual. I think he's realised what he needs to do now, because he can't just be sitting there gatekeeping one of the top 2 spots in the Americas. At some stage, he's going to have to sweat out a lot more, just due to the fact that these players from all around the American scene, they're doing a great job even catching up with the skill level and the calibration of both DaHanG and Rafa. So he needs to be a little bit more careful now.
I mean, there's always going to reach a point where the players will start to kind of catch up in a sense, and DaHanG is always going to have to defend his turf. But if the time comes and he's got to do it, he's been pretty confident doing that so far. So we're now going into Vale of Pnath, map number 2. Is this going to be a 2-0 for DaHanG, or is nosfa going to bring that A-game? The immediate fight breaks out, and he's going to put all of his eggs in one basket, but to no avail. Did you get it? Vale of Pnath, avail. Didn't even realize how good that was until I said it.
You a funny man. You are a funny man, but what's not funny is nosfa. He's not laughing right now. He just jokes aside.
He certainly is not laughing out loud.
No. Definitely not enjoying himself towards the evening here, but as I say that, DaHanG does clean him up nicely once more. DaHanG full map control, and as he goes for the telly, gets the 3rd frag in 38 seconds, gets the Mega, is going to try and contest him for the rockets. nosfa's like, I'm not having absolutely any of that, but it doesn't matter. Look at the LG from DaHanG. This is DaHanG we know and love.
I had a sip of water, and he's got 4 frags. What is going on?
He's just not giving him a break at this point. Now, even the rockets, he's going to get trapped. Surely, they're not the best of orbs. And DaHanG gets some of his stack back. nosfa must be on like 1 or 2 HP at this point. Let me just quickly check his stack. 1 HP, yes he is, but he does get a health orb, but that's not really going to help. Have you seen DaHanG stack? He is literally laughing at his points, and my goodness, what a rail and what a start for DaHanG.
When nosfa was 1 HP and he jumped down towards light armor to pick up the health bubble, I genuinely got scared. I got really nervous. Because I mean, I don't want to land on the acid and die. It's been a minute and a half, and DaHanG has got 6 frags. This is a bloodbath right now, Lethal. What is going on? nosfa just not allowed to establish himself on this map in any way. DaHanG is sticking to him.
It's like watching a horror movie at this point, but as I say that, nosfa gets his 1st frag on the board, but it is Vale, remember, so comebacks can happen, and they can happen fast, they can happen quick, so DaHanG needs to make sure awareness is high, it's strong, and watch out for which bounce he takes at this point in time. But managed to get the rockets, which is the first step. Gets the LG, so this is the weaponry he needed, but the turret been a little bit of a pain here for nosfa. Does miss the 2nd rail, but will be going for that heavy. But surprisingly enough, nosfa doesn't really contest the heavy as much as I expected. But then again, nosfa could have been in a worse spot, but now he knows exactly where he's been. DaHanG is trying to at least clean up. But my goodness, DaHanG's going to back off for the time being. And nosfa does jump up. It was very nice, very well played, but it just wasn't to be. DaHanG was more than prepared for that.
The danger of this, though, even if this is a map where comebacks can happen and you can re-establish yourself, it's just the sort of the natural setback of giving up a frag lead that massive early on, is that you don't really want to be behind the second the map begins. And that is a problem that nosfa is finding himself in. Gets the close range rail, but definitely the wrong weapon for the job. If there wasn't more cover there, he would have taken a lot more guaranteed damage during the rail cooldown. And the Mega's been taken. nosfa, because he went down so early in this map, DaHanG has had free reign over the Mega and Heavy. There's been very little opportunities, if any, where nosfa's been able to take a single one of them. Tries to nail boost himself up towards Heavy, but doesn't quite get the final edge he needs. This map is just a bit of a disaster for poor old nosfa. It's not working out.
No, it's not working out for him at all. He's trying to do everything he can. The aggression isn't always key. And it's proven like that in Vale. Maybe as soon as nosfa gets full map control and a good stack, he can maybe start making some progress from there. But DaHanG is not giving him any opportunity. Both players... Oh my goodness, that rail, as I was saying, that DaHanG is just making matters worse.
That's the kind of rail where you kind of just shake your head and go, well, what do I do? I give him the smallest of an angle. And God, DaHanG, there is nowhere you spawn where DaHanG is not just lying in wait, looking for every opportunity to shut down, and he's doing a great job of it so far. He's going to push in again, and he'll eat rails. He'll eat a single rail here just to pepper out a bunch of LG and keep you behind. Less than 5 minutes have gone by on this map, and DaHanG has 10 frags. This is ridiculous. And the turret's just to make life worse, and the rail.
Oh my goodness, you couldn't make this up really, can you? Do you know, I feel like I should apologise for DaHanG for saying that there's upset potential, but at this point, it's like he's heard me and gone, well, do you know what? I'm going to prove there is no potential of an upset, and it's already 11-1 in favour of DaHanG, and he's going to see what he can do here. Both players are on a similar stack, but DaHanG's just trying to get that rail off, but this like it's not to be. He's proven us why he's still one of the best American players around, and nosfa's just trying to do everything he can, but nothing is working out for him.
We're going to get a little bit of rocket damage. He is going to manage to hit 90. There's a potential to really get a frag here at last. He needs to get anything he can get his hands on at this point, and that was a nice rocket indeed. The problem is, the turret is getting the last laugh. It's put him so low. He has to try and get himself some armor. There is a heavy ready to take, but it's DaHanG. He's going to look towards the Mega, happy to make a trade.
Happy days at that point. He was a little bit lucky to get away. I'm surprised nosfa even got that frag earlier. The turret was perfectly placed, so he couldn't actually get anywhere. It's like a mouse falling into a trap, but managed to get away nonetheless. But nosfa doesn't have any info on DaHanG's whereabouts as of yet. DaHanG's decided to switch styles completely, and so he should with a 9 frag advantage, trying to do everything he can, but a lovely round there from nosfa. He's going to see if he can try and get one more, but DaHanG, very clever from him, isn't going to give him the satisfaction or the opportunity to do that, but does get the one. Just one more needs to be. Yes, it is, and that was very well played, and will get the heavy on top of things with that top mid advantage, but finds DaHanG again, but the Mega is up, so will he actually try and progress and try and move his? Surely he won't, but does manage to get one, and sadly he will have to back off again, but DaHanG is coming straight in, managed to get one rail, doesn't get the second. DaHanG nicely done to finish him off with the rockets.
There was a nice little sequence there from nosfa. The problem is it's just damage. It was damage taken on the way in. He had wonderful pathing, great movement to really kind of catch DaHanG by surprise, but look at these insanely ridiculous little flicks that DaHanG is just pulling out of his backside at this point. Just, you come around the corner, flick, dead. And this is the kind of really scary position to be in. DaHanG, it's just, if there's a rail that needs to be hit, he's hitting it. This is DaHanG when he's at his most frightening, where he's running crazy efficient control, but when the time comes to hit one of those rails, he's doing it. And that is like absolutely DaHanG when he's at his most lethal.
This is dangerous territory here for nosfa. I would not want to be on the receiving end, surely, but nosfa, bless him, he's trying to do everything he can just to at least start something, but DaHanG is just giving him no room to breathe or suffocate, let alone make any movement across the map. DaHanG is just gonna restack ever so slightly. That rail, it's just getting worse and worse at this point. And nosfa's now, you can tell from the speed of his movement and how he's progressing parts of the map. He hasn't slowly given up, but you can see at the same time he's surely thinking to himself, what more can he do here?
Well, I fear there is nothing that can be done with the amount of frags that nosfa has to catch back up on. This, by all means, should be a comfortable victory here for DaHanG, who has just ruled this map with an iron fist. He's just been... It is always down to control. That immediate early burst of frags that DaHanG was able to seize pretty much decided the map from that point. Because nosfa has been permanently playing from behind. DaHanG has expressed no fear. nosfa has really had no presence on any of these important pickups either. Especially not to the point where DaHanG goes down and then nosfa can mount a comeback potential. There is going to be some fight here, but he does go for the shotgun. Good. There's some items that you can take. Knows that Mega is more important, so he's going to forego all the small little pickups. And he's going to go for the Mega instead, shut it down. But yeah, 1.5 minutes left to go, 11 frags. I'm not so convinced.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I'm not convinced at all. nosfa is one of those players where he knows what to do when he has the control, but a little bit undecided to what to do after he's lost the control. It's kind of back and forth, really. That's why he's kind of the dark horse in this league. Sometimes he'll do amazingly well, sometimes he won't. It depends on who gets the better start and then who can actually walk away with it afterwards. And DaHanG just knew that nosfa struggles to counter some of the things he does, and it's more and more. And at this point in time, look, 11 frags between the two of them, 1 minute left. DaHanG pretty much laughing at this point, and not really too much that needs to be done. So, but DaHanG just played absolutely out of his skull.
And he knew, I really kind of think that DaHanG knew that he needed to do that today. To have a sort of underwhelming couple of weeks and then realize, well, all right, good, it's not working out. So let's try and bring it a bit harder next time. Whatever was going on that caused DaHanG to have those weeks where it just didn't really go to plan. Nice to see him kind of back on form. nosfa is going to get some bonus frags if he can at this stage, but this was a done deal a couple of minutes ago, at least, if that. So DaHanG can feel good about his performance today. We, by all means, have our final map to get through.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, with that in mind, DaHanG has just returned to form, I think, is the lesson of the day from him.
Yeah, completely agree. He's getting telly happy right then. 200 IQ plays with the rail with the final 2 rails, and that'll be GG. And DaHanG 17-5. I still feel bad for saying that this could be an upset, but first map could have gone either way, depending on the circumstances. But even then, DaHanG just played absolutely out of his mind, and every single time nosfa maybe could have got something going, he was just like, no, no, you're not.
It's just denial. That has been the sort of theme of this series. Is every time nosfa is even within a small inch to come back and get something important, DaHanG was just there to be like, whoa, hang on a minute, mate, that belongs to me. Every single time, a bit of a jerk, really. But that's the kind of style that DaHanG can play. When you play on such a sort of mechanical level where the items are like what you are fixated on. I mean, it didn't like at any moment throughout the entire Vale that nosfa had a hold on either of the items at any point. The only time he would collect one of them is if DaHanG was busy on the other one, because he's just happy to trade it. Other than that, DaHanG just owned that map. Like, it belonged to him, and nosfa was playing in his back garden, which is always scary for someone like DaHanG, because it's hard to knock him off that perch. We very rarely, when he's like really cemented in there and he's dug in, it's kind of hard to knock him off. Our last map, though, Awoken, a very traditional way to end the night. Galena versus Doomslayer, 2 extremely meta picks on a map like this. And curious to see if nosfa can get kind of like the bonus win, I guess, at the end here, to try and get some points. Otherwise, DaHanG, I mean, a 3-0 is going to give him a nice little point injection after a couple of disappointing weeks, I think.
I knew I should have predicted against DaHanG. Why did I even do that? I thought maybe
you like to live dangerously.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, but but yeah, you're right. The standard meta pick for the champion standard map to go out on, and it depends if we see DaHanG continue the carnage he's already shown in the last 2 maps, or nosfa can at least show some dignity and some credibility to at least make a comeback in just 1 map. But it could be a 3-0 from the way we've seen from that last map. Long as nosfa doesn't lose and reset his mentality, lose that kind of aggression he had previously, as we head in to the 3rd map and see what else nosfa can do to bring this back.
It's quite a heavy question at this point, because DaHanG has looked kind of untouchable in this series so far. I am going to check out nosfa first, just to see kind of how he handles this opening round situation. I looks like the aggression's already coming out from DaHanG, who hits a delicious little 2-piece combo. And even if he gets the frag there, he almost got himself a nice little ring out, which would have been a pretty demoralizing way to start the map, if anything. DaHanG is going to press the advantage again. Early aggression, 2 maps in a row, but this time it's not really the fight he's after. It's the fact that Mega's just about to spawn. nosfa is going to get his hands on a heavy, and
Oh no.
That was either from nosfa. That was either a fake rocket jump or that was a fumbled rocket jump. I hope it wasn't a fumbled one.
I'm going to say that was a fumble. It seemed quite fumbly. If you wanted to fake out a rocket, he would have fired one at the floor, but nowhere near him and then go elsewhere.
I didn't want to be too much of a negative Nelly, but he has
negative Nazi, yeah.
He's fumbled quite a few rocket jumps in this series. His execution in general has been his shortcoming.
No, you're right. You're right. Anyway, you're right. But it's it's one of his. I would love to say it wouldn't have fumbled, but my word, at least he managed to get that frag there, way of a possible comeback. He's got the Mega, so showing slightly better form this time round. But as I say that, DaHanG is just so aggressive. A lot more aggressive than what we've seen, not just in previous weeks, but in comparison to what we've seen earlier. And my word, DaHanG just trying his best not to give him room to breathe, even though he's the one with the weakest stack.
But in nosfa's situation, there is very much a sort of position he can come back. 2-1. He's going to launch the immediate totem, and can he get it? Bad timing to lose that frag. DaHanG getting the frag and a Mega. He's troubled. Forcing his way back on the heavy now. And hang on. Oh no, nosfa! Oh, that was almost a disaster, Lethal. He tries to go for the mid-air and it misses, but there's actually very little damage returned there by DaHanG, so kind of lives to fight another day.
Yeah, pretty gobsmacked from that little fight. It was only 2 LG shots away from being taken down, but now nosfa, didn't expect him to still push with that shotgun, and DaHanG is just playing so aggressive. These rails are just still disgusting. And nosfa's really struggling to get anything going. He may be able to burn this heavy if he can, but even then, DaHanG was still waiting around. He did his best to try to contest it. Off the map you go. See you later as DaHanG with a lovely rail off the map.
I'm gonna go migrate and check out some DaHanG. And now another fight. And it's likely a fight that DaHanG will favor just in time for the Mega. And it really is. How many times are these fights happening where it kind of looks like DaHanG is going in for the frag, but it's always perfectly timed for when the item spawns? It's almost like, never be fooled. Like, the item's what he wants. The item's... It's like, it's not like he gets the frag and goes, oh, look, there's a Mega. I think I'll take that. It's, I'm going to get the Mega, and you're in my way. I would like to move you, please.
I think that's more on nosfa's side. Like, he doesn't prep early enough for the items. He just maybe goes for it like straight away rather than like waiting for a few seconds to find out any info. So that's more his fault on his side of things. But DaHanG, he won't mind that at all. He'll be like, okay, well, I've got the bigger stack, so of course I'm going to push in. You know, that Mega's mine on heavy. I'm definitely going to go for it. Why shouldn't I? And then by then, nosfa's making so much noise, but he knows his exact location and what he wants to do. If he wants to go for that first rail or if he has other ideas. But even then, DaHanG is still looking very good. And nosfa, I feel like he hasn't really recovered from that last game.
You almost feel like we're kind of just loading straight back into where we left off rather than starting afresh.
Yeah.
Oh, DaHanG is just his method. It almost looks like the way he plays, for those that ever get to really observe and look at DaHanG, is there's just this idea that he's just navigating the map, and nosfa just so happens to kind of be in his line of sight, right? Like, he's running the map, nosfa's there. Okay, I'll get him. All right, he's down. What am I doing next? Oh, he's there again. Okay, I'll get him. Like, it almost looks like he's not even phased that nosfa is playing on this map too. There's just this next level display of comfort. He's never having to retreat. He's never having to almost like err on the side of complete caution. He's just so comfortable here. And nosfa's just unable to get a single footing on this map. Goes towards the heavy, horrifically missed times. Even if he managed to reach where the heavy was going to spawn, he was at least 2 seconds too early on that.
You've got to remember now, though, nosfa, DaHanG's realised, and I think he's realised it from some of the past VODs he's been watching. nosfa, not only is he aggressive, he's over-aggressive, plus he seems to be very predictable. Like, on spawn, he goes for the telly, goes straight for the rockets. Almost everyone does that of all levels, of all ranks. And he's watching does do it, and he does it every single time. And he's not that he's doing similar tasks, he just expects nosfa to do exactly what he's thinking. I feel like DaHanG at this point is literally predicting what he's thinking before even nosfa even thinks about it. I've seen that a few times, it's quite rare, but DaHanG has just been all over him. And again, another LG battle one. 11-2, it's basically the second map on repeat.
Look, he's looking to restack. Had to kind of concede the Mega, though, just due to time alone. And that rocket's going to be some good information, if anything. And hang on a minute, there's a surprise little jump pad. For the sake of it being the final map, I don't want to... Whoa! DaHanG. He gets rid of that totem with the magic time. Not going to save him, but that was a clutch little reaction.
Be healed in the power of the ancients.
Seems like DaHanG still on a tear at the moment. Doesn't matter what map it's been. But lovely LG there from nosfa. Still has the opportunity to come back. But Willie looks very, very unlikely from the way DaHanG has been playing. Been taking out all his totems. There's a second one gone already. It's quite rare to get 3 totems up on maps like Awoken and also Blood Run, depending on the scenario you put yourself in. But nosfa does get another frag back. So even though he's lost all the totems, gets a frag back anyway to find out the info of where DaHanG is. But is it too little too late? DaHanG has been playing quite defensively over the last minute. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it only really tends to happen if the Galena player puts down the extremely unorthodox totems. And even then, it's more like the early setup, isn't it? To try and get like that kind of triple stack early, and then eventually they'll go down. Obviously, if you replace them with something else. Oh, thank God, DaHanG had the double jump. Again, I know he's dead, but yeah, that would have been quite a sight to see. Now, hang on a minute. nosfa is actually working on a pretty impressive comeback. 5 frags to go. And if he's able to... Oh, no, I cursed it. I cursed it. Why did I curse it?
I can't believe you did that, Ketchup, honestly. You could have
sorry,
just not said
man.
anything. It's fine.
I did not mean to do it. I did not mean to do it. It is only my job.
That's what they all say. Never mind. Caster's curse. We'll leave it be for now as DaHanG still continuing to pound on the damage, but misses that rail shot was so important with nosfa now. Because another frag down. 5 frags in 2.5 minutes. Yep, definitely doable. But how will he go about it? Will DaHanG change his style? Will he put the pressure on Steel? But nosfa, well, we know DaHanG knows exactly what it's going to be like. It's going to be pushing him at every angle, every possible way. He's not reliable anymore, but he's definitely going to try and push top mid. Nice little rocket from DaHanG. One more, gets to rail. Just needs to try and be careful with the pressure he puts on and try not to get too carried away. But the rockets are looking so good, and instead, DaHanG makes matters worse for nosfa and increases his lead.
2 minutes on the clock. Oh, that was a cheeky little rail coming out from DaHanG. Less than 2 minutes on the clock now, though. Time is no longer nosfa's friend. And there's been some nice rails. Finish it with an LG. No need to overcomplicate. And DaHanG looking likely to take this very convincingly like the rest of the maps that we've seen today. A nice way to finish off. Just rail after rail. Easy money at this stage. And another Mega's going to get snapped up. Yeah, overall, this has just been a great display from DaHanG today. nosfa's going to try and push in, but to no avail, unfortunately. Another rocket's going to just turn him to paste. And as we run this victory lap for DaHanG, who has easily won this 3-0 and kind of returned to form a little bit. I think return to form has been quite a theme today. We've seen quite a few players kind of return to a level that we know they can play. We've seen it from Cypher, we've seen it from Tox, we've seen it from DaHanG.
I'm just not going to be predicting it's DaHanG ever again. Learned my lesson. I've seen it happen before. Yeah, I've decided not to. It's enough now. But nosfa at least gets another frag back, but it's way too little too late. But you're right, though. With the terms of everyone's form, Cypher looking like the old school Cypher we know and love and how it's progressed. Tox seems to be on form, back to his normal self, and has been for the last couple of weeks. The best thing is, it's not just one week they do it here and there. They've been doing it consistently for the last few weeks. And I'm so happy to see some of these old school players be able to make this kind of charge in the comeback. It's like they've all had a meeting or something to say, right, shall we just turn up again? And they're just like, yeah, go on then.
Yo, guys, we should just be godlike again. What about that? Oh, man, why didn't I think of that?
Oh, see, that's the strategy. You know, just chill for a few years and then come back. But it seems to work out for them anyway.
Yeah, 15 seconds. Make that 10 at this point. nosfa. Unfortunately, you know, he's not gonna be 100% satisfied with this result.
Oh my goodness!
But it's been one hell of a day for DaHanG, who has brought his A game and then some. This was just at no point did it really look like DaHanG was phased by what was going on. Like he was very much kind of doing his thing, unchallenged. He was running that circuit on all 3 maps. Like he was the one in control. Even looking at the pickups, DaHanG always inched it out. And it was in crucial enough. And not only that, but a massive denial of the smaller items. That was 15 lights to 24 lights. And then obviously more of the Mega and Heavy went in the favor of DaHanG as well. But he just seems to starve nosfa out of those maps. And that was, I think, one of the reasons that he's always got more stacked than nosfa when the fights break out, because he's more sustained. He's just stealing all the items away. And nosfa's like, well, I've spawned and I've got a weapon that's near me, but that's kind of it. And he has to just make a mountain out of a molehill while DaHanG is just running around just with a giant bag full of stuff.
I don't think there was one time in maps 2 and 3 where I thought, okay, nosfa could come back here. Okay, you know, I was trying to hype him up a little bit halfway through, but still 5 or 6 frags. And DaHanG didn't change his style, didn't all of a sudden start playing passive and messing up his aim. He was still playing as well he should have done. And that's the DaHanG we like to see. That's why him and Rafa are still two of the gatekeepers to the American scene. And he's proven himself once again. When you see DaHanG on form, you know, you better watch out because nosfa's had a piece of it already. And nosfa probably thought the same as me. Maybe he does stand a chance, have maybe a small window of opportunity to try and prove himself once more. But no, DaHanG just went, no, you're not. Absolutely not.
But I think it was quite I suppose, a fitting way to end the stream. The theme of the day has been kind of almost like a redemption arc, you know, players returning to a form that we know they're capable of reaching. And I know we've got the sort of the first half of the schedule, at least, to go over some of these results, and we have the old leaderboards so we can kind of compare. The leaderboard, I believe, is being updated as we speak, so we can see that in due time. But I mean, looking at some of these results, Avek with the 3-0 over Hron, Effortless and Zanaku being a 2-1, with Zanaku getting that final map that was really important for him, I think, to just always establish his presence and be like, well, I'm still worthy of being here, right? Like, he's still got that level of skill to get those maps, and he's a late bloomer. He was here for stage 3. Everyone else has been here for ages. Biggest upset of the day, Sib over Cygib. I absolutely think that was not only the upset of the day, but one of the biggest upsets that we've seen in Quake Pro League. Well done to Sib, and quite the celebration of his own personal journey. Absolutely. Toxic versus Sparty, the 3-0 that Tox had in dominant fashion. I mean, this was some of the most dominant Tox play I think we've seen in Quake Champions, period.
Yeah, look at that. 18-3, 15-6, 19-4. It was just disgusting.
Yeah.
Players, I mentioned it earlier as well with Tox. He has Sparty's number. It doesn't matter how well Sparty does. Tox is always going to be Sparty's nemesis in terms of trying to get past him. He's obviously got kind of maybe like a mind block, like a mental block against him. I kind of feel like that in multiple ways because he got 3-0'd by him last time and there seems to be no change. Sparty has been playing extremely well over the last few weeks, coming back into the scene. He's kind of got the motivation back to at least try and now progress further. But yeah, Tox just was just like, no, you're not. Absolutely not. But yeah, it's nice to see at least Zanaku, you know, managed to get a map back. He's still having a few issues trying to take a series, but progress still to be made. And yeah, Avek's just still on form. He's another one to add to the list where normally he's on and off, but he's been on throughout the last few weeks. It's great to see. And I'm so happy that Sid managed to get that upset as well.
And we can see moving on, Dramis versus Chain. Chain taking the 2-1 victory against Dramis there. In quite a close sort of matchup. I know that Chain really kind of took the upper hand on the later 2 maps. And then up next, Cypher. Excuse me. Swallowed a frog or something. Wenger versus Cypher. That was a huge win for Cypher today because it's all about the climb when we talk about Cypher. And this idea that it's taken him a couple of years to hit his stride in Quake Champions, and I still don't even believe that he is there yet. I think that he's just simply taking out these world-class Quake players on the way. But I think that Cypher, he's not going to be satisfied until he can take a major tournament win. And with a result like today and the kind of heads that he's taking out, are the kind of players that prove that, hey, man, a tournament win is something that Cypher could have more than achieved. I truly believe that one day it could definitely happen in this game. Kilson versus Base, the 2-1 to Base. Base just making Kilson get just trapped in a little glass jar with Base's name written on it. Like, that was Base playing his absolute strong, sturdy game plan and just kind of keeping Kilson on the end of a leash. Not something that you see all that often. And then finally, DaHanG, the return to glory, 3-0 versus nosfa, where he just looked unfazed and unchallenged. Overall, it's been a good day of games.
Yeah, I said it a couple of years ago with Wenger. He's going to be the rising stars in 2017, 2018. He has been in ATS 2020. He's still improving. I still think he's nowhere near his skill ceiling. And when he does hit that, like, my goodness, like, it's going to be one of the next EU prodigies at some stage, one way or another. It's just a matter of how, when, and when it will actually happen. It's only time will tell. And yeah, it was a bit of a shame. I'm surprised Base was able to push his playstyle so hard against Kilson. Kilson, I don't think, had the right maps. That was one of the main things. You saw with Awoken, small, a bit more open. Kilson was just having a laugh with him pretty much. The other two, Base had the right position every time, even in some of the places where he was kind of camping and playing passive was in common spots. It was the correct spots at the same time, the way he was doing the chip damage with the rails constantly the whole time. DaHanG and nosfa, I think nosfa's just going to forget that even existed, to say the least. But yeah,
What matchup?
Yeah, exactly.
We haven't played yet, have we?
No, not yet. I think we're going into that, aren't we?
All right, so I believe we should have the updated global rankings to go over. So it's kind of just where today's action has brought us and where we are for the player scores and all that good stuff. Obviously, we did have some players such as Rafa and Razy kind of just having their bye weeks and stuff like that. But these matches they've resulted in kind of almost just like a climb for the players that have done well. And I kind of think like in week 5, that's almost like a given. We're not quite at that stage where people are really they're not able to start significantly overtaking each other just yet. But we are over the halfway point now. And that's the thing that matters. The extra talking points we always have to go over. I mean, there really is no sugarcoating the situation due to the nature of what's going on in the world right now. The stage 3 finals has been pushed to an online only finals. And that does mean that the players have had to really just reassess how they approach the game, because there has for the longest time been this discussion, and quite rightly so, discussion between LAN versus online. It's always different, but now that difference doesn't matter because LAN is not going to exist in this stage. If you are a player that has been not doing so hot online, but you're like, it's fine, I'll be fine on LAN, that's gone. So you're in a tricky situation where you've got to kind of just try and level up online as much as you can. Easier said than done. If you're a player that might not have as much of a good time there, but they are the cards that have been dealt. It's just the way things are, and I'm curious to see which players can kind of rise to the occasion.
Yeah, it's only a couple of players with latency where they can have some issues, but it's not even really about the latency as a whole. It's more the case of the environment. When you play in that different environment, it's the adrenaline. How can you cope with it? Well, you get so much adrenaline that you're like way too nervous and you may make some mistakes here and there, even some major mistakes, like considering what you've seen with some players in the past. Or do they thrive on it? A lot of players, especially in this league, will thrive off it and play to the absolute maximum. You've seen Base managed to convert from online to offline in the last stage finals. He was playing phenomenally well. And then you've got other players as well, like Chain, he's been doing quite well. And I was saying before, he needs to show that progression. And thank goodness he has actually shown the progression going into the online phase throughout stage 3. But even with the global rankings at the moment, it's not really too much to say. But between 4th and 6th, between Coolers, DaHanG and Wenger, it's still very close between them all. But do I even need to mention Rafa? Not really. He's still very far ahead. Exactly.
It's one of those situations where it's been a good day all round, and I think players like if you're Tox, you're going to be in a good mood, right? Because he's just been able to remind everyone that he's a godlike player, crazy accuracy, crazy aim. We have got the updated global rankings here, so we can see what things have meant. But you know about the level of dominance that you feel when if you're like Razy or Rafa and you're still top 3 and you haven't even played today. I think that's a nice little demonstration of how dominant you've been over the course of Pro League. But there are players that have been able to just kind of climb even further. I really feel like of everything that we see here, I am so incredibly just pleased of how far Cypher has come. You just look at the rest of the players that Cypher is amongst. Like, so Cypher's within the top 7, right? And then you look at who's in front of him: Wenger, Cooler, DaHanG, Razy, Kilson, Rafa. Like, that is an insane amount of talent. But Cypher is right up there alongside them. He has surpassed players like Base. He's been able to surpass, Tox and stuff like that. Players that were kind of significantly ahead of him for a while. You would never have guessed that Cypher was not in stage 1 if no one told you. He missed an entire stage of an opportunity to gain points. Yet here he is in the top 7, and he's able to take out the best players in the world. Wenger is just one player that he's been able to kind of almost like dethrone in that regard on a personal level. He's been able to take out other players as well. And I honestly think if he just keeps doing what he's doing, the sky's the limit for this guy. And it's about damn time.
Yeah, it's been ridiculous. His form, this is the best version of Cypher. We've seen that a few times before, but this is the best version we've seen of him for a very long time. I'm not too sure how long we're talking here, but you saw from there, but like we were mentioning before, how Cypher's been slowly going up and up and up. You can see from his frags and win-loss, but he hasn't been around for long. And he's already 7th. That's absolutely absurd. And he's only just been recently on top form until the last few weeks. So he can break top 5 if he keeps playing the way he's playing, because Cooler, he's been having his on and off days. Wenger, you saw from there, he may be able to stomp most of the players in EU, but Cypher is definitely isn't one of them at that point. But my goodness, you are right though. It's great to see about 5 players in the space of 1 week, 2 weeks to be on a different level and playing how they should be playing, not just inconsistently like they have done in the past.
Okay, I believe this is all we have time for today. So that's going to wrap up week number 5 of stage 3 of the Quake Pro League. Thank you all so much for joining us. My name has been Ketchup, joined by Lethal over today's commentary action. I really obviously want to give an opportunity here to shout out everyone that's tuning in, the players that are still playing and competing under the circumstances, and really the sort of production teams and everyone that is kind of keeping the ball rolling from home. It's definitely not an easy job, and I appreciate the hard work gone round through everyone that's involved in making this program happen. Thank you all so much for watching. Much love all round, and we will see you in week number 6. Take care.